Hey everyone, my name is Chris Lambert, and on this channel we talk Kanye West. And today we are talking Kanye and the potential features on Donda and Jesus is King 2, which, we're at this point where there hasn't been any new information really from Kanye or anybody involved, but just kind of refreshing what we have known over the last few months about people that have worked with Kanye. Because even though there might be a bit of perception that Kanye has put the album to the side and might not be doing anything with it at this point, there's still probably a lot more going on behind the scenes that we don't realize or may not put all together because the information happens like so disparately and disconnectedly, where when you look at an image like this and you kind of remember all the people that have been in the studio with Kanye or in Wyoming or Los Angeles or Atlanta with Kanye, you start to realize like the scope of these albums and the potential involvement and how big they might be. So running through this real fast, shout out Ghost Bubbles for putting this together. Shout out West Sub Ever. So we got Ty Dolla $ign here, of course. He's been a staple since The Life of Pablo. Justin Bieber, who is out in Wyoming. Common, longtime Kanye collaborator as well. Travis Scott, Ant Clemens, Victory Boyd, who had been singing with Kanye in like Sunday service. They had signed to Def Jam and Jay-Z specifically, like Rock Nation. And Kanye had been working with Victory Boyd and Momo Boyd and one of the other Boyds. I'm forgetting what their group is. That's essentially what I'm doing there, was trying to delay until I could remember what their group was, like Millennium or something, but that's who they are. We have Pusha T, we have Royce da 5'9", Chance the Rapper, St. John, 2 Chainz, Sci-Hi the Prince, Sway Lee, Casey Pluto, The Image, which The Image was mentioned by Boo in one of his recent interviews as a group that, along with Casey Pluto, Boo was working with and had put Kanye onto. But we don't know as much about them as we do Casey Pluto, who has been so involved with the Kanye community on social media. Griselda, Sunday Service, Chief Keef, who I think flew out to Los Angeles, right? Like, we've seen Kanye in the studio with St. John. We've seen him in Atlanta with 2 Chainz. Chance stuff, I feel like, was a while ago. But Chief Keef was out in LA, I do believe. There was talk about, like, Chief Keef was on a plane flying out. Then we have Marsha Ambrosius, Anderson .Paak, which I don't quite remember them, like, being associated. I feel like the info that I've only recently heard was about them on Ty Dolla $ign's forthcoming album, but I'm probably just misremembering. Eminem, Kanye tweeted out like a thank you to Eminem for being on Use This Gospel, right? The remix that Dre was working on, which was just like 2 months ago this happened. And everybody's like, all right, Jesus is King 2, like still alive, like Eminem feature on Use This Gospel remix. Awesome. And then haven't heard anything since. Nicki Minaj, Snoop Dogg, I guess because of New Body. Snoop Dogg, who was in the studio with Kanye one night a couple months back. Lil Baby, of course, has been seen with Kanye several times. Big Sean, Momo Boyd, Lil Durk, DaBaby, who just recorded that verse for Na Na Na. And then Sean Leon, and Terrace Martin. So that's everybody that we got. That's 30 people, right? 6 by 5. 30 people divided between the 2 albums. That's like 15 people per album, which is kind of a lot. But we saw the track list. Like, the initial track list that Kanye put out was like 23 songs or something, or 22 songs. And you may remember Life of Pablo, like there were so many features on that too. Like Ultralight Beam had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lowlights was a guest verse feature, right, by who was it? Spoken Word. Who's the Spoken Word? To that time, So Alive by Kings of Tomorrow. Oh. Uncredited vocalist who was presumably hired by Rivia. Interesting. I honestly never knew that. Okay. So what? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because the Dream was already up there. 8, Designer was up there. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Does that really count? I guess so. 14, 15, 16. Oh, no. 16, 17. We have 17 guest features there, which it's a lot. That's a lot. If that gives any scope to like how, I don't know how big these projects are, but just like it felt like there was so much energy around the life of Pablo, right? And how massive of a project it was. And, there were people that thought it was thrown together, though I think part of that idea was just Kanye tweeting out track lists in the midst of figuring out what he wanted the final version to be. As well as people thinking that it was disjointed when it first came out. Before, I think a lot of people have realized now that it's purposefully contrasting, especially when you have that album cover of like which one. You're getting that back and forth between the Father Stretch My Hands Part 1 versus Father Stretch My Hands Part 2 soundscape. Like Famous is really like musical, right? Where feedback's very harsh. Lowlights, not musical. Highlights, musical. Like Freestyle 4, not musical. Waves is finally like the transition between the aggressive Kanye that's in that first verse that represents more of like that kind of person versus the more conscious Kanye that's in the second verse that represents more of that person, which is the turn then on FML, Real Friends and Wolves to like choosing, right? It's no longer which one, he's made his choice. It's his wife. I will forever and always talk way too much about the life of Pablo, but I just think the scope of that album, and you wonder if either one of these is going to start to approach that, right? Because like Jesus is King, smaller album, right? With the number of songs and like the number of places you can put guest features. So you wonder like how many is that? And then how many, like could we have 20 guest features on Donda, right? Something like that. That would be pretty wild. But I guess that's all that I got because we're still waiting on more information. But one day we'll have it. One day we'll see the track list and we'll go back to this and be like, how many people that are on here ended up making the final cuts? And won't that be a wonder to behold? Well, I guess that's all I got for this video. If you're enjoying the channel and you want to support the channel, the easiest way is liking, subscribing, commenting, as those things tell YouTube people are enjoying this, and then they show it to more people, which goes a long way. And then the thing that we're most well known for is our podcast, Watching the Throne, a lyrical analysis of Kanye West. You can get a sample of what it is we do, the line by line, track by track, album by album analysis that has really changed the way a lot of people listen to Kanye music. We've had over 1 million plays in the time that we've been doing the podcast. So if you want to find out what all the hype is about, why Complex has named us one of the best music podcasts, then you can listen to our College Dropout 2.0 season. It's currently ongoing on Spotify and iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. But the rest of our catalog is available, not like one episode a week, but just all of it right there for $5 on Patreon. And we're currently going through the entire discography for a second time. So you'll get those episodes months, and I mean months ahead of when they're going to come out on the public feed. So you can be deep into our late registration 2.0 while people are still listening to the College Dropout episodes. And by the time the late registration 2.0 are on the public feed, we're going to be into 808s and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy 2.0. So check it out. There'll be a link down below. And that's all I got. Until next time, stay wavy. And I can't stress this enough. Keep it loopy.